Hello and welcome in.
Please do not leave your luggage unattended on the station.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome into the official Colorado Eagles podcast. I'm Meghan Angley, a credentialed reporter with Guerrilla Sports, covering the Colorado Avalanche and the Colorado Eagles in my 5th season. And I'm excited for today's episode. It's a little different from what we've done so far. It's going to be a feature piece, getting an inside look at one of the new defensemen for the Colorado Eagles, Alex Gagne. But to bring you up to speed with where the Eagles are at right now, they're 12-3-0-1 on the season, currently tied for the league in points with 25, an 8-2-0 record at home, and still those top 5 special teams, a second-ranked power play, penalty kill. They're continuing to roll. They split this last series against Tucson at home, but they're going to get them back on the road in Tucson this upcoming weekend. Gagne talks a little bit about that at the end of his interview. Also just want to give him a huge shout out. He was so generous with his time. And to give you guys a little insight into Alex Gagne, he was signed to an entry-level contract by the Colorado Avalanche this past summer. He was originally drafted by Tampa. He played at UNH. He was the captain, 6'5", 225 pounds, left-handed defenseman. So he's a little bit different from what's currently represented in the D pipeline for prospects for the Colorado Avalanche. You've got Sean Behrens and Mikhail Guliev, who are the puck transporters, mobile defensemen with an offensive instinct, certainly. And I don't want to reduce Sean Behrens to just that. As you know, I've been following him since he was a freshman at DU, and I love his game. I think that the defensive details that help to elevate him to a top pair role in World Juniors alongside Luke Hughes for Team USA when they won bronze is a testament to how responsible Sean Behrens can be defensively. So I never want to reduce him down to just an offensive defenseman. But Alex Gagne is a bona fide stay-at-home defenseman, defensive defenseman, good in his own end, headed up the PK at UNH, but also quarterback that power play. And so his vision on the offensive side of the puck is why I also don't want to put Alex Gagne in a box. He's also got a lot of dimension to his game, and because of that size that he has, he represents a more heavy physical option. And looking at maybe some of the needs that the Avs had at the start of the season, especially on the left side, he's an intriguing prospect then to add to the pipeline with NHL ambition. And he talks a little bit about that and the path to getting there. And I'm excited for what he's already shown so far with the Eagles. He got his first goal recently. He has a goal and 4 assists now through 16 games with the Eagles, and he was thrown into the fire right away. Coming straight from college to pro, he was getting big minutes on the Eagles PK, which I mentioned a second ago, second ranked in the league. So it's not just getting those big minutes on the kill, it's a really effective one. And Gagne credits a lot of that to his D partner, Keaton Middleton, the work that they're doing not only on the kill, but 5v5. They play a very similar style, and it's been very effective then in shutting teams down. What excites me about Gagne is kind of alluding to, what's different about him from the other prospects that are in the pipeline is a player like Gagne has the ability to change the way opposition plays opposite him. He can play a really punishing style of hockey that makes players panic and make decisions with the puck that maybe they originally wouldn't have wanted to because they're bracing for heavy, hard contact. And I think that Gagne has the ability then to bait players into doing that in his own end because they're just bracing for a really punishing hit. But he's also so good positionally and those reads. And so some of his stats out of college in his own end are really impressive. He led UNH defensemen in goals, assists, and points, ranked first in the nation in D-zone puck battle wins, second in D-zone stick checks, third in D-zone denials, seventh in D-zone blocked passes, and in his final year, led the team in blocks for the 3rd consecutive year and ranked 4th in Hockey East. Those are really good metrics, especially in his own end, just with the attention to detail. So it's not just being big and getting in lanes with his body that way. It's getting those sticks on plays in lanes with some of those stats that I just read off. And so he talks a little bit about how he's honed some of those details in his own end. So without further ado, let's get to know 23-year-old Alex Gagne, one of the newest members to the Colorado Eagles back end, a little bit more. All right. I wanted to start back in the summer before you signed your ELC. You were drafted by Tampa, so I imagine there were conversations about your future, but that August 15th day comes and goes and you elect to entertain free agency. What were some of the priorities you had in terms of that decision around your future?
I would say just, talking to my family and my agent, kind of talking about the best opportunity for me to grow as a player, to one day hopefully reach my dream of playing in the NHL and becoming a regular in the NHL. And as well as with the development, and obviously being here, it's second to none. It's first class organization with the Eagles and the Avalanche, so it's been awesome so far.
And ultimately, Colorado is the organization that comes with that ELC. Why was it such a great fit in your eyes?
I think just with the guys they have, it's so cool to learn from them. And then like I talked about before, like Keaton Middleton, having him as a resource every day to pick his brain about things, it's been incredible so far.
What was your impression of this organization before you got here and got to start working with guys like Middleton?
I didn't really, obviously, like the Avalanche, the history of it, but, being from the East Coast and kind of growing up and just only kind of knowing like the Bruins, you don't really watch that many games just because they're so late.
Yeah.
But it's just a rich history of the guys who have come here before. I would just say, yeah.
And what excites you about the way that Colorado likes to play, specifically the way they execute in allowing their defense to become a part of the offense?
Yeah, one thing that definitely excites me is they preach about it every day, is they love to play fast, especially in the transition game, which I think can help me. Just getting pucks up to our forwards, kind of letting them do the work, and then when I can, jump up in the play when it's available, be that second wave of offense. As well as they give us the ability to make plays and be ourselves and kind of be who we're supposed to be, if that makes sense.
No, it definitely does. How do you think some of that already complements your game?
Already complements my game. I would say, obviously, I guess you asked anyone that they like to play fast.
Yeah.
That can help me with my speed, just kind of making plays, knowing what I'm gonna do with the puck before I get it. And then, everyone likes to play offense, so yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your identity as a player, because you definitely have an attention to the defensive details, but it does seem like you are also interested in being a part of the offense.
Yeah, my identity, I would say, definitely trying to form into a role as someone who's hard to play against, someone who can relied upon on the penalty kill at the end of the games, be in those tough minutes against those top lines, someone who's physical, who will get first touch in the corner, but also kind of work on my game and just being more simple all over the ice, whether it's just making a good first pass, not having it waver on the boards or anything, or getting pucks through, adding that to my game, because the more that can happen, the more chances you can get in the offensive zone, and then the less time you spend in the defensive zone.
How do you think the opportunities you got at UNH helped to prepare you for the opportunities you're getting here?
A lot. The coaching staff there is awesome. That was the best 4 years of my life. Working with that D coach every day, Jeff Giuliano, Mike Suzik, but especially Jeff Giuliano, giving me the confidence every day, working with him. Obviously, he played in NHL for a couple of years, so learning from him as what it takes, it was awesome. It was an incredible experience.
And you got some power play time too. How does that speak to maybe some of that vision you have on the offensive side of the puck?
I would say just Do you mind saying that question again?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Some power play opportunity at UNH. How does that speak to your vision on the offensive side of the puck?
I think a little bit. I mean, it's more. I can definitely like see plays, read plays here and there, but I think what helps me or what helped me on that the power play was kind of seeing different lanes, how they open up at school, and how I can apply that here. How certain forwards come out to block shots. I guess seeing the tendencies of forwards on the penalty kill and kind of applying it here. Obviously, everyone here is bigger, stronger, faster, but you can still apply those same tendencies from college to here. So.
And I'm going to have to read off my sheet. I don't have this memorized. Ranked first in the nation in D-zone puck battle wins, second in D-zone stick checks, third in D-zone denials, and seventh in D-zone blocked passes. What do you do to work on the details in the defensive zone? What goes into that?
A lot of it was just our habits in practice. We would have very hard practices at school, a lot of battle days, which I think contributed to that. And also, I don't want to take credit just because that was me. I mean, my D partner, Nikolai Jensen, was a huge part. Obviously, that's a single attribute or achievement, but it's a whole team effort. It takes 5 to do that, being in the right spot every time, all 5 of us. So, and then in practice, just working on small habits, just stick detail, kind of like what we're doing here with, and I know Minty has been harping on me a little bit, which is what I need. So, but yeah.
How do you leverage your size in some of those things?
It's definitely still a work in progress. Sometimes you'll see me out there fall once or twice, but I try to use my free arm to kind of direct where the guy's going, and obviously being a bigger body out there, almost kind of leverage him to put him on my back, and then I can dictate where.
Yeah.
And obviously in front of the net, it helps to be this size to move people. But yeah, I mean, it's just that's another thing to work on every day. Is kind of leveraging your body. So.
Is the physicality difference from college to pro different? Like, are you finding that a different line that you're learning to toe?
Yeah, it's definitely different. It's different in the sense of, in college, you could get away with maybe a stick check here, a poke check there, but in pro, like I said, everyone's bigger, everyone's more experienced, whereas like you have to go in the corner and make sure that your body's in the right position, your stick's in the right position. You can't just poke and have a hope play. Like here you have to get a good angle, get a good stick, and then pin, and then do all this. You kind of have to check some boxes to win the battle.
Yeah.
It's certainly been a challenge, but it's been fun. It's been fun so far.
Sounds like you have to be very intentional in everything you're doing.
Yes.
All right, I will let you go to practice.
Okay.
And I can just ask you more questions later.
After, yeah.
Yeah, if that's all right with you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for squeezing this in before.
No,
I really appreciate it. So it just so happens I come on a development day. I think that was pretty cool.
Yep.
What is a day like that like for you, getting on the ice with players like Milan Hajduk?
It's awesome. Like, you kind of have to pinch yourself, and it's pretty cool to be on the ice with someone who's scored over 500, 450 goals. And obviously working with Tara, the skating coach, and Wicks out there. It's awesome. Just giving us little tidbits here and there to kind of help your game, make the game kind of feel slower in a way, so you can make better plays and almost look faster, look more simpler out there. So it's awesome.
Yeah, you kind of touched on it, but what do you take away from having some of the skating coaches out there specifically?
Yeah. For me, I know skating has been something that needs to be an improvement for me to reach the highest level and reach the peak of my game. So just trying to work on lengthening my stride, building strength in my stride, whether it's transitioning from forwards to backwards, straight line forwards, or even backwards. Any of those things that she works with me, it's just a benefit for me for the weekends.
And how has it all been translating to the pro level? What have been some of the biggest takeaways so far?
It's translated pretty well. I mean, obviously, the guys here are faster. The puck moves very quicker than college, obviously. But yeah, I would say just, sometimes you kind of catch yourself at a position here and there. Whereas, I mean, this first year, kind of, you learn your lessons through mistakes. But just trying to be in the right position every time, minimize those mistakes, and kind of having my skating be more effective, which will only help me. Then also, with me being more effective with my skating, can help the other guys on the ice, just moving the puck and everything.
Yeah, and when you were making the decision this summer, did you weigh the reputation of the Colorado Eagles organization as part of that?
A little bit, to be honest. I know they were always a powerhouse in the AHL, but to be honest, I didn't really know much more than that.
Yeah.
Really. I was just kind of going off a word of, my college coaches, what they've heard, their friends in pro hockey, and then obviously talking to my agent and family. So not too much, but I know kind of the track record of this program. So.
And now that you've been here, Tim Branham has a really good track record with
Yeah.
the defenseman Schneekloth before him. What has that experience been like working with him, and what are some things you guys are working on?
He's been awesome. Every day we're working on something new after practice, whether it's getting pucks through. Me and him, we work on a lot of footwork, which is something, like I said, I need, which has been great. But yeah, he's been awesome. Whether it's on the bench, doing video after practice, after games, his insight and knowledge of the game is something I don't take for granted. So.
And you mentioned your D partner earlier, Keaton
Yep.
Middleton. Can you tell me a little bit more about working with him and just everything that you're soaking up?
Yeah, obviously he's unbelievable. He's an incredible player. He's someone that, being for myself early on in my career, someone I can look up to, look towards for whether it's guidance, advice. Could be about life, about pro hockey on the ice, but he's been awesome. I sit next to him in the locker room. Sometimes in between periods of games, just kind of bounce ideas off him, because he's obviously been there, done that. And then more so, whether it's like after practice, whether it's working on certain breakouts with him, he's kind of showing me different kind of passes, like kind of what not to do, what to do, whether it's given to a forward here or there, or on the penalty kill. He's been huge on the penalty kill, kind of giving his insight on what's worked for him in the past, and him kind of showing me. So he's been awesome so far.
You mentioned that penalty kill second ranked in the league right now.
Yep.
What do you think is bringing it so much success?
I would say it's just a total buy-in from everyone who's on the penalty kill. It's just, no matter who it is, whether it's blocking shots, getting pucks out, even providing a little offense on it, which is a little bonus there on the penalty kill. But no, I think our attention to detail on the penalty kill is something that I think has been working for us, and we're all bought in to get that puck out every time. And then so it's been good so far, so hopefully we can keep it going.
And you have a lot of PK experience coming into it, but what do you think are some strengths that you add to that PK unit?
I would say definitely with me and Midzi being a pair, our long six, we can almost connect them, make them a mega stick out there. But no, having a good stick, and then kind of just, because Timmy lets us kind of go and be aggressive when we can, which is awesome, because then we can close fast with our sticks. And then just say, just blocking shots, anything I can do out there to help kill the penalty. I'm just one of the four other guys out there, including the goalie. So,
do you find in making some of those reads positionally, taking away lanes, because the pace is faster here, that is a little bit of an adjustment?
Definitely. The guys at this level, their skill is top notch, especially on the power play, playing against those high end level guys every time. It's never like in college you could kind of tell where someone's going to go, but here you kind of have to be in the right position no matter what. You can't cheat to one side thinking you're going to pick it off, because you kind of got to read their body, their eyes, their head, and then you have to look at the puck too. So.
And this is his first year as head coach, Coach Letestu. What has it been like working with him?
He's been awesome too. The whole coaching staff, even Army being new as well. But Testy he's been awesome. I think I saw something that T-Mac said it too. Kind of reiterate what he said, that he's got an open door policy. I would say he's a player's coach, but he knows when to kind of crack the whip and kind of pull the guys back in if we're kind of getting off the line. But he's been awesome. He encourages making plays. He understands that there's going to be mistakes made, but he lets everyone play like themselves, be in their own skin, be comfortable, and that's what you want out of a coach and a coaching staff. So couldn't be more grateful for them.
That's awesome. What's been mapped out for you in your development plan as kind of those next steps that you need to take as a player?
Next steps, talking to Cogs about it, is just more of when I feel like my game is at my level, and what I like is just being simple and direct. Whether that's just get a pass, go up the wall, make the first guy. Sometimes when I get in trouble is kind of when I'm looking to make that extra play or almost chasing my mistakes. So that, and then just becoming someone who can shut plays down right away, be a hard-nosed defender, because those are the traits that we talked about that will help me at the next level. So, and that's what we're all chasing for. So
I love that you are also working with Andrew Cogliato. I have to ask what that experience has been like. Obviously a forward in the NHL, but I imagine he still has a lot of insight that is very helpful to all of you as players.
I mean, he has an incredible amount of knowledge. He's been at the top of the mountain. He's obviously won a cup, and he's played for a long time. And kind of watching him growing up, he's probably the model of consistency in his game, which is something that I can definitely learn from and kind of take away. Whether that's in back-to-back games or a long stretch like a 4 and 5 or 7 games in 12 days. So something like that I can take. And he's just another resource that you can always talk to him and ask him questions. He's always there, so it's nice.
And one of the things he's known for, too, is how he took care of himself away from the rink. How has that sort of been preached to you, especially at this level? I imagine it's just different in terms of recovery and conditioning.
Yeah, as far as, college, it's a little different just because it's more of like a team aspect of whatever you do, whether it's warm-up, eating this or that. But in pro, you're kind of, everyone's on their own, essentially.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a little bit of adjustment of kind of getting into a routine that works for you, whether it's after practice, before practice, the workouts, after games. So I'd say that's still a little bit of adjustment the first few months into the season, but it's been good so far. Trying to obviously get the nutrition aspect in and making sure that's good. So it's been good so far.
Awesome. Are there any players that you really admired growing up or that you seek to emulate?
Growing up.
It could even be someone in the league now that you just would watch a lot of film on.
Growing up, he was on the Rangers, but he was on Tampa for a little, was Ryan McDonough. He was awesome to watch, just kind of like Cogs, like so consistent, never out of position. His stick detail, everything you kind of notice. And then I would say this year too, kind of watching some Avs games and, getting to be, for one, I think it was 1 or 2 practices with Josh Manson.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. Kind of being with him and kind of like Midzi, kind of picking his brain on certain things, and, whether it's talking to him after practice, him showing me something. Definitely when I watch those games, I kind of key in on him and kind of watch his body, his angles, his stick position, how he is on the penalty kill. I mean, he's just a world-class player, so it's someone cool to watch.
You got into your first fight the other weekend.
Yep.
I wanted to know what that experience was like for you, kind of what led up to it, if you could walk me through it.
Yeah, probably not the best timing.
There was just an odd man rush. It's fine.
Yeah, probably not the best timing, that's for sure. But to walk you through, it wasn't really anything. I mean, definitely, I would say I like to play on that line, play aggressive, play on that edge, and then it kind of happened organically almost. He was like, "Let's do this," and I was like, "Why not?" And didn't realize we had a 3-on-2 and a chance to score, and so kind of heard that from some of the guys the next day. So, but it's all right. But it was good. So.
Lutestu said he'd work on the timing.
Yeah, we talked about that. We got that down now.
No, I think it was otherwise a good fight. But I guess that you mentioned Josh Manson, and it was something I wanted to ask about, like where the fighting fits in your game, because I think of Manson as someone who would be an enforcer secondary to everything else, and I wonder if that would feel similar to you.
Yeah, I think that's something. Obviously, no one's gonna say like you have to fight. But that's something that I know for me personally, that for me to play at the next level, that's something that I need to have in my bag of tricks.
Yeah.
Obviously with my size, but it's not something where every night I'm going to be looking for someone looking to do this, because I want to help the team win. That's my first. Do whatever I can to help the team, whether it's on penalty kill, breakouts, this or that. But at the same time, that I'm going to stick up for myself and I'm going to stick up for my teammates. So those are the two things that, if push comes to shove, then it'll happen. But
Yeah.
I'm not going to go around looking
for it.
Yeah.
That makes sense. How did you get into hockey, and what made you want to become a defenseman?
My dad and my brother played, so it was pretty much they put the skates on and I'm here. And then I was just a defenseman all my life, kind of. I played a little forward, but probably a little better skating backwards than forwards, so decided to stay at D.
And when you're first starting out in this league, I imagine there's a pressure to be responsible, to be trusted defensively first and foremost. But what is that balance of finding the confidence to get involved offensively while still prioritizing the defensive side?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, it's honestly through trial and error. This first stretch, there's a couple times where, talking to Timmy in film, kind of knowing when to pinch, knowing when not to pinch, talking to Midzi on the bench about it, whether it's like a strong side pinch on when not to go. But I think what comes with that is just experience. Kind of some of those times when I make those mistakes, like right after I'm on the bench, I'm like, oh, dang it, like, why'd you do that? That was kind of not so smart, but yeah, it's just trial and error, kind of working through that. And then, like I said, just picking Midzi's brains, Ammo, Jacko, just all those guys who, like I said, have been in this league for a while, and have all played in the NHL. So it's cool to have those guys at your resource, I guess.
Yeah. Have you gotten to meet Jacob McDonald, pick his brain a little bit too?
Yeah, he's awesome. Obviously, he's out for a little bit, but he's like I said, he'll be in the room, or we'll see him in the gym, and we'll just be talking about the game. So he's also another wealth of knowledge to have.
That's awesome. And these are like the last couple
questions.
No worries.
No
Thank
worries.
you. We're in the home stretch.
No worries.
Just 3 regulation losses, 16 games in. What has the overall experience been playing with a team that has had such a strong start?
I waved him to myself.
That's okay. 3 regulation losses in 16 games. What has the experience been like playing with a team that has had such a strong start? It's
been awesome. Obviously, I think what we kind of want to establish this early is finding ways to win, showing that we can close out teams, whether it's a 2-1 game, a 2-0 game, but also kind of find our resiliency a little bit, kind of, when we're down. It's always, everything's easy when you're up. The energy's there, the energy in the building is there. It's kind of finding our way when we're down, when things aren't going well, trying to simplify our game, and then obviously when that happens, just let our skill take over, and then whatever happens, happens. So.
Does it have an impact, the energy of the crowd? I know this is a sold-out building, really loud.
Yeah, it does. I've never heard of or seen the Minute Madness before, which is something. I remember the first time Mitzi was like, "You're not gonna hear me." I'm like, it's like, okay, like how loud? And then I tried to yell, I couldn't hear myself. So it's pretty cool to have this fan support every game. You know, even on weekdays too, which is something around the league that it's not so prominent, especially on weekends, but it's pretty cool.
And because this is a team that has been winning so much, how is the weight of a loss maybe different from the weight of a win?
I would say it's more frustrating just because we know how good we can be when we're on our game, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
We know what our game looks like when we have 4 lines, 6 lines, or 60 going. So I think just a little bit of frustration, but then at the same time, we have so many more games. Just kind of, like I said, learn from it, flush it, and then we have them again this weekend. So
I was going to ask you
kind of work on what we did the first game and what we did right, and then kind of look at the second game of what we can correct, and then go from there.
Yeah, you will get Tucson again this upcoming weekend. So what is the expectation?
The expectation is obviously 2 wins, but for each game, I think definitely the first game is the first 5-7 minutes is having a good start. Obviously, you know, Friday we won, but you know they scored the first 15-16 seconds in, so kind of, you know, being on our toes, being ready to start the game is something that's crucial. And then I think we can just get more pucks on net and get more traffic. Obviously, the goalie Stauber, I believe, on Saturday he played really well. But just getting in his eyes, and then just playing hard, playing straight lines. So.
Yeah, it seemed like they had a really heavy physical game, especially Saturday night. Is that something that you guys are looking to amp up a little bit?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you know, everyone on our team brings a physical component. You know, when we're forechecking hard, when we're having successful pinches, we're a tough team to play against in the offensive zone, which is a lot of our guys pride themselves on that. So when we get back to that, it's awesome. No one can really stop us in those zones.
Awesome. Well, that's all I had for you. Thank you so much.
No worries. Thank you.
I really appreciate it. All right, that was Alex Gagne, and I just want to give him another shout out because he spoke for about 26 minutes in total, and it was a development day up at the Eagles, which was really cool, and I was so excited to take part in it because you had the forwards on the ice first, and Milan Hajduk was out there. He's been doing a little bit of work with the Eagles developmentally this year, and I got to see Ivan and Milan Hajduk on the bench one-on-one talking in Czech, and there's not a better guy that Ivan could learn from. I think future episode we'll have to do a feature on Ivan, kind of where he's at in his development, but working hands-on with Milan Hajduk is incredible experience, and then Milan Hajduk just getting on the ice with both the forwards and the defensemen is huge. I think the other really cool thing is, since the Avs have added skills coach Mark Popovich, he also heads up the Colorado division of the Perfect Skating Group, and so they've had access to skating coaches going back to development camp this summer. And so it was cool to see Sean Barron's working with the same skating coach that was on the ice in development camp again here in November with the Eagles up at practice. And so I think this is the first for me, at least, that I've seen the skating coaches be a part of these development days. In the past, you know, I've seen guys like Brian Wilsey on the ice for these development days, but this addition of the skating coaches adds an emphasis then to improving everybody's skating across the board. And they split the D up too into kind of the group of that mobile puck-moving defensemen. You had Barons, Yoon, Sean in that group, and then you had kind of the bigger D, and they all still worked on their skating one-on-one with the skating coaches, just kind of focusing on different things, different aspects of edge work, quick starts and stops for some of those, you know, undersized guys. And so it was really great to see that they're paying that level of detail, that attention to detail with the skating aspect. And so Gagne spoke with me while the forwards were still on the ice, but then he had to get out for practice when the D came on. So he came back after practice to talk a little bit more. So I'm so grateful for the time that he gave, just very generous. And I wanted to add a couple little anecdotes to round this out, because I think Gagne covered a ton of bases in his game and everything that he's doing to get better and ready for the next level. I think the thing that stands out to me too is his passion for the X's and O's and tactically getting better. He seems to have a really strong grasp of what's needed and a huge commitment and dedication to working on those things. And what I like about that too is when I asked Coach Letestu, like, what's next in Gagne's development, he just said very simply reps. And so it wasn't as if there was one area of Gagne's game that stood out as this kind of glaring part that he needed to work on. He's very well-rounded. His foundation is very well-rounded. And so it's just a matter of time and getting that experience and those reps in at the pro level then for Gagne that I think he'll get better adjusted to the pace of play. And so he talked about, some of those reads coming more readily, more easily, more instinctively, being very intentional in everything that he's doing. And I love to hear it because I think that, from the player side, he's really committed to working on it down to that micro level of detail. And from the coaching perspective, he has such a good foundation to work off of. And then the other funny thing is, in talking with his D partner, Keaton Middleton, on Saturday, a little bit about that work that they've been doing one-on-one. There's such a palpable passion that Keaton had for working with Gagne. You could tell he takes a lot of pride in it, is really happy and excited to be doing it. He joked about giving Gagne like weekly PowerPoint presentations. I don't think that's real, but he's working with him hands-on, after practice, one-on-one. And I had asked Keaton, is there a player comp or a player that Gagne should look to emulate? And he paused and he said, me, duh. That was funny. That wasn't my intention with that line of questioning, but he later offered Jamie Oleksiak. And so I wanted to share that because he's nicknamed Big Rig for a reason. And when I started at the top of the show and talking about what I think Gagne can be at the pro level and how he can be effective and maybe changing how other players play opposite him, not so different from a Jamie Oleksiak or a Josh Manson, who Gagne kind of talked about. Those types of players are so punishing that players know what they're getting into when they're trying to protect the puck and they're trying to make a play. If Gagne's closing in on you, you're more inclined to maybe cough it up quickly because you don't want to live with the consequence of that hit. So I'm just so excited for what this player can become and his attitude and passion too for getting better. He's already been such a huge piece of the Eagles' back end, eating up some pretty big minutes, and he's handling that responsibility so well. So I'm excited to see how the Eagles respond on the whole in this Tucson series coming up this weekend, and they'll be back at home after Thanksgiving, and I will be there for some of that home game coverage in that series coming out of Thanksgiving break. And I just wanted to say, I'm so grateful for you, Eagles country, and anyone who's tuning in for this Colorado Eagles podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like what you're hearing, because we'll be bringing more content like this throughout the season. We're having a lot of fun doing it, so thank you so much for listening, and I will catch you in about 2 weeks with the next official episode of the Colorado Eagles podcast. I'm Meghan Angley, and I will talk to you later.